I'm not saying that women aren't equal. It's more like it's a yin and a yang thing. You know what I mean? Like my masculinity levels out your femininity, which is enables you to be in your true essence.
Roll me, Mac.
What do men think about that society would not accept from them simply because they're men? Am I good enough? Am I good enough to get this job done? Do my kids have all which they need? Maybe not necessarily what they want, but what they need. Is my wife satisfied? Never will be. Is my woman satisfied? Is my girl satisfied? Am I doing all that I can to be the best version of myself every day in which I get up? I believe these are some of the things that us as men, males, I'll say, because not everybody, becomes a man in their life. But us as males, I believe that these things pass through our minds. You know what I'm saying? Whether we act on it, whether we try to improve it, is another thing. But I do believe that I know for sure. I'll speak for me as a man. I try to think of ways that, all right, what's the area of me that can be worked on? What part of me? What triggers? What are those triggers? Where do they come from? What can I do with such? But I truly think that a man just wants to figure out how can he become this version of himself that will have just truly no limits, where you can provide, like being able to provide. That's one thing I think a man does think about, the ability to provide for your family. Now, some get overwhelmed by the pressures and challenges that come with that and just say, fuck it, and just whatever. But there are some that still try to weather the storm mentally and figure out, okay, what do I have to do? What do I have to become in order to have the things that in which I desire, I want, need for that matter? What do I have to become as a man to do this? Is my personality going to bring forth these things that I want in my life? Is the way that I carry myself, as a man, is that going to bring me what I'm looking for? Am I on the path? The people that I'm following, are they going where I'm going? You know what I'm saying? In life, that's a question that I think that some of us men may think about, may not necessarily act, because they, again, we're human. So you have this fear of being alone. So you tend to go along with whatever's going on. But I do believe that there are some of us that just really want to excel in our field, whatever that is in life, and just do what we can for our families, especially if we got kids. And it's like preparing them for when we're not here and showing them the way so that they're not lost when we're gone, when we're not around, whether we're alive or, or in the grave, moving, into ascension or whatever's after this. The challenge of like, was I too hard on him? Was I too soft? Was I there enough? Was I there at all? Like the questions that, that might be accepted as far as like being emotional. Did I do enough? Did I make sure that they had all what they needed? Does the love that I give, is that something that they're going to be able to find useful when they get older? The example that I set, is that something that they could follow? Did I lead them astray? No action is also an action. You know what I'm saying? And inaction is an action. So, like, did I act when I was supposed to, when I could have acted? Was this in an effective way? Are there times where, again, it can be scary. There's a lot of fears that come into this life, especially something you've never seen before. These are things I believe that some of us men think about, man, that probably wouldn't be necessarily accepted because we're looked at to be men. You lead. Yeah, it's not for everybody. Yeah, you do get afraid, especially if you've never seen it before, but it's got to get done. You find out along the way. It's having a growth mindset versus a fixed mindset on this. It's like we'll figure it out. We'll learning to look at mistakes as lessons and how to move forward with those lessons and try not to do the same thing like this. Try not to commit the same mistake again if indeed it's not healthy, effective for where you're trying to go in life. Now, granted, certain mistakes, one might be a mistake for one person, and it definitely can be a motivator. And it's all about how you intend on living your life. Is, like I said, the things that I believe some of us as men think about is like, is it true? What it boils down is is this enough? Is this enough in the climate that we're in, where it just seems like nothing is ever enough? Is it good enough to just be a man that works, a typical 9 to 5 to keep a woman? Like, what I'm saying? Like to have a woman in your life, or due to hypergamy, is she going to go for the highest bidder? Is this the best thing she can do? So there's those things. Yeah, they ponder in the mind, but it's also, to me, I think a weak male looks at that and is ready to throw in the towel. I look at that more so as a challenge. You're not able to control the fact another person's going to do. She's going to leave. She's going to leave. Just don't lose you. You know what I'm saying? Like, people can go. Just don't lose you. Anybody that's not there wasn't meant to be there long term anyway. Like, there's people that's going to come into your life for seasons, and there's going to be people that come into your life for a lifetime. But everybody's come to teach you something. And it's understanding that love is truly, like I said, it's truly about appreciation and not possession. You have no control over when people are going to leave us, whether that be a breakup, the grave, prison sentence, whatever it is. And it's like controlling those feelings of attachment that can happen when you do get in those situations. And it's like, man, I don't want to lose them. But you never had them. That's the thing. It was never yours. And that's why it's important to be appreciative of individuals. They might feel very strongly about you one day, and then he may decide that this isn't for them. They have something else in mind for themselves, and it would have nothing to do with you. Truth be told. It's important to love unconditionally, but understand that your presence is very conditional. You know what I'm saying? And that unconditional love does not mean unconditional tolerance. And once you can accept that, that's a fear. It's a fear. Abandonment, especially for some of us that grew up with abandonment issues, that's something you just have to accept, learn to accept, and figure out just how to accept it. The person that you talk to on a day-to-day basis, weekly basis, monthly basis, whatever it is, they very well can go at any given moment. So it's important to take advantage of the present moment and value them while you can. And if you do that on a day-to-day basis, chances are those people will still be in your life. Granted, if you value yourself, that's a whole other thing too. Like, important to value yourself, so you recognize when those who do not value you come around. You know what I'm saying? Picking up on patterns and things. But these are things I believe that some of us males, ponder in our mind and asking ourselves, yes, is it good enough? The challenge is like hypergamy is undefeated. Understanding that as a man, and that's something that you just have to accept. Like, why after 20 years together, how could she leave, or whatever the case is? And it's just, you got to understand nature, man. You have to understand the nature. And I said hypergamy is very, very, very real. It's very real, and accepting such is tough. It's a hard pill to swallow. But once you understand it, it teaches you very much how to navigate yourself as a man in this current climate that we live in, But I believe those are some of the things that some of us men tend to think about that society wouldn't necessarily accept, because it more so reveals a vulnerable and emotional side of man. What can a man anticipate dating women who are accustomed to leading in their relationships? You can anticipate unnecessary conflict, fighting over nothing, literally just fighting to get the last word. An individual that wants to be right, and it's exhausting. Number one, it's exhausting. That's why I do not prefer dating women that want to lead. I understand why they want to lead, but you're in the wrong place for it. Like, if you want to be with a man that you feel like if you want to be with a male that you feel like you have to lead in order for everything to be balanced, by all means, you take that on. You live with all the resentment that comes with that, wondering why the attraction leaves, all those things, because you're not attracted to men that you have to lead. That's from my understanding. That's, again, I very well, this is my perspective. Some women may be attracted to men that do not lead. I've yet to meet one, but I truly believe that being in a situation like such is exhausting, and it's understanding that, like, there's no, I will repeat this until the day I die. And whoever with me in the afterlife, you're gonna hear it again. But there is no point in a woman being with a male if she's going to lead the relationship. And this whole thing, it's 50-50 now. No. Not for me. Not for me. It's not a 50-50 thing. It's not going to be. It's not a situation where a leader and a follower gets paid the same. There's never been a situation at work. There's not a situation again, it's just not, it's about trusting someone to take care of you, to care for you, essentially, is what I'm trying to say. I'm not saying that women aren't equal. It's more like it's a yin and a yang thing. You know what I mean? Like, my masculinity levels out your femininity, which enables you to be in your true essence, which is both sexy on both sides. And you know this, as women, you know what I'm saying? Like when you find a male that you don't have to ping on the walls and ensure that they get this shit done type thing, it takes a big load of stress off of you. And when we as men are with women who trust us to lead and we know that we can, it's the sexiest shit ever, because unnecessary conflict, we're not about that shit, bro. It's just not going to happen. It's just not going to happen, you know. But what you can anticipate is like the adjustment in the beginning. Like, don't get me wrong, you know, I've had my fair share of dating women that, because again, I grew up in that. I grew up in that same system where a woman was used to being, you know, like handling everything. So, I mean, I recognize it. So therefore I would attract women that would necessarily operate more in their masculine. Doesn't mean they're niggas or no bras or shit like that. It just means that they're used to having to handle shit instead of being able to rely upon, I want to say, a partner that would be able to run things, to keep things calm. Like, so number one, that's definitely number one, is like the ability to keep things calm. So being calm in chaos, and understanding that, yeah, that storm that a woman in her masculine can be, being able to calm that storm, being able to be that rock on the shore as that storm hits, and it's just relax, calm, like we'll get done, it'll get taken care of. And you know, again, not everybody is is equipped for that just yet. And the thing is like, we don't have the luxury of women waiting for us to figure it out. Unfortunately, fellas, we don't. It's something that coming into this will be very helpful, because in the event that you show any slight that you don't know what the fuck you're doing, and she wants to stay with you, you're not gonna get that. You're not gonna get that trust back, man. And it's tough, bro. It's tough. I won't lie to you. Like I said, it's gonna lead to resentment on both ends. If you don't trust me to lead, I don't see why I'm here at all. You know what I'm saying? It is a role, and it's understanding our roles, and as far as establishing a balance in a relationship. Now, somebody's got to lead. I just prefer it to be me in that relationship, and understanding that for me to build a kingdom, for me to build a frame for a woman to enter that she can trust, and for you to do that, you have to become a man. You know, you truly have to become a man with healthy boundaries, with standards, with, again, care for that matter, showing dominance, but protection. And don't take advantage of a woman that is used to being in her masculine, and she gets bold enough and brave enough, courageous enough to show her feminine side to you. You do not take advantage of that. You do not tear her down for when she gets vulnerable and shares how she feels, even if it makes you uncomfortable initially because you're not used to hearing that. That's something that you got to deal with in yourself. But once you once a woman decides that she's going to be there with you, you nurture that. That's where our nurturing comes in. When their nurturing comes out, I believe that's where we as men come with our nurturing too. Be calm with that. You know what I mean? Just don't be a pussy. You know what I'm saying? Don't be soft about the shit, but be that man that allows her to feel protected, and understanding why a woman would operate in her masculine. More than likely, she comes from, that's all she saw. She probably saw her mother operate like such, where she did everything and the stepdad or the dad wasn't worth the shit. So they feel the need to constantly step up and make sure everything is good, because that's the thing about a woman's essence of, if it's not going to get done, damn it, I'm going to do it. I don't give a fuck what it is, I'm going to do it. And if I have to do it and you're a male standing there, I'm going to resent you, especially in our community, in Black community. Oh God, no. You better show that you know how to lead, bro. You better show that you know how to lead. You ain't ever, bro. You ain't ever getting that shit back, bro. You know what I'm saying? So it's like working on yourself on a day-to-day fucking basis. You cannot take a day off from this as far as understanding what it means to be masculine. But it's not about pouting your chest out. It's about being calm and being decisive and knowing how to make your tribe feel protected. But it's that calm energy. All that aggressive shit, now she gotta operate in her masculine to calm you the fuck down. When y'all get in arguments and y'all yelling at each other back and forth, she's gonna be the one to get, and she has to step into her masculine to calm you down, like a mother does to a son. And you want to ensure that you keep it to where it's more like a father to a daughter, but you don't treat her like a daughter. It's just allowing her free enough to be in those emotions, because I believe we must be strong in our frame. It's tough. It's not easy, man. It's not easy. Stoicism helps. Getting to know, like having emotional intelligence helps. But as far as dealing with the day-to-day of emotions, do not allow a woman or anybody to get you off your square, to get you out of character. It is not easy. No, it's not easy, especially for the women who operate in the masculine. I have been triggered because it reminds me of, like, you know, I would say, like, the communication sometimes that I would engage with my mother, you know what I mean? And even that was just about both sides, me and my mother, feeling like we weren't good enough for love. We weren't good enough for this, you know what I'm saying? That's why it's great to communicate these things. But seeing that a woman who is, again, getting back to that point, is that a woman that is used to being in charge, if you will. She makes sure everything gets done. What we doing for dinner, baby? You know what I'm saying? That type of thing. And not being able to, again, setting the date, setting vacations and shit. You know what I'm saying? Like she's used to doing, I don't know, let my wife do it. Like, you know, my girl got it and all that shit. I respect people that live that way. It's just, that's just not for me. I like the challenge of actually listening to the woman, right? And then coming up with something on my own. That's just something I do for me. Again, that's no shade at the opposite. You know what I'm saying? Where, you know, you allow the woman to set whatever up. And I'm not opposed to her doing such, like, on certain occasions, just not all the time. You know what I mean? And again, it's about taking that pressure off. But when you're dating a woman that operates, you know, commonly, that's used to being in charge, she is a drill sergeant, bro, bossy. You know what I'm saying? It's like that bossy shit, and how she talk to you. She just, you know, she commands shit, and it's like, nah, that shit ain't gonna work, bro. Like, nah, you gotta talk to me like you're talking to a man, so that I can talk to you like I'm talking to a woman. And that I firmly believe that. Like, that's where I feel about the situation, man. Like, we're gonna have to talk to each other like we understand what roles we're playing. Like, I'm going to be the man. I'm going to be the masculine, and you're going to operate in your feminine. And that doesn't mean that we don't use our feminine energy at some point in time, because that's where that nurturing comes in for that said, you know, woman. When she go through certain shit, like when she going through something that, oh man, you know, you acting like a bitch. Get over that shit. No, that's not going to be helpful for anybody. You wouldn't even want her to do that shit to you, for that matter. You know what I'm saying? It's like having someone that knows how to show empathy when there is that someone passes away, someone that, you know, there's something tough that goes on at work. But don't talk like a victim. Either side, don't talk like a victim to each other. Listen how people talk to you. Do they sound like they're trying to make themselves seem to be a victim? That's the question you have to ask yourself, because again, I look at that as attention-seeking behavior. And that's okay, because again, we're human. We've had childhoods where there might have been some negligence, there might have been some abandonment, there very well could be some toxic things that have happened to us, and we're still stuck into our childlike mind that has us, we don't even recognize that we're operating in our, wounded inner child when these things are happening. But when they do happen, being able to recognize it and just, okay, all right, adult, just be an adult right now. Don't talk like a child. Be able to express yourself the way an adult can I think is very vital on that. But like I said, anticipating things you can anticipate dating a woman that's used to leading. Again, the exchanging of the guard is a process, because if she's used to leading, of course, there's going to be a lot of riff, that not being able to trust that you can get this thing done. Are you going to be able to lead us type thing? And once you get past that little initiation process, it tends to run a little smooth. But there are some that are just hell-bent on fucking leading. And you have to love yourself enough as a man, knowing you got to see it down the line. This is not going to go well. This is not going to go well. We're going to be in unnecessary arguments. And I'll take peace over that any day. And peace alone is better than chaos with. That's how I see it. You know what I'm saying? I'm not for that shit. Don't talk to me like I'm a boy. But I also have to not act like one as well. Like, again, if I'm being a child, you're gonna whatever you put out is what you get back, and into this life. But to me, the concept of like that transition of, okay, he actually can lead. Wow. Big load off my mind. You know what I'm saying? In most cases, women are in managerial positions at work. Some of them have kids. You come home from being a manager, you come in the house, you're managing kids, and now she's got to manage her relationship. No, she has to focus on her side of the relationship, but she's not. But as far as like teaching you to be a man, I'm good, man. That's like, I don't want that. I don't want that in my life. That's just me. And I've accepted that. I've accepted what comes with that, the consequences that comes with the fact that I'm not willing to be in such situation with a woman who is hell-bent on leading in the relationship. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just too masculine. That ain't gonna happen. It has to be a balance. There has to be that masculine energy and that feminine energy, so that, again, the attraction one stays there. Because again, me as a man, I'm attracted to women who operate in their feminine around me. You know what I mean? That masculine shit, turn that shit off when you leave a job. Turn that shit off when you put the kids to sleep. Don't talk to me like no nigga. Don't talk to me like no boy. Don't talk to me like no man. You know what I'm saying? Talk to me like a fucking lady, and understand that. And I'm gonna be a man about mine. I'm gonna ensure that. And if I catch myself doing boyish shit, I'm gonna check that shit real quick. And because I know the consequences that happen in the long run. But nevertheless, I think those are the things that, from my perspective, what you can anticipate dating a woman that is accustomed to leading in her relationship. So whose house did I spend the most time with growing up? I would say RIP to Mac. We spent a lot of time at Mac's house playing basketball, video games. Definitely at Daria's house. What up, Pops? And Miss Gloria and Mr. Ronnie and Trey. What up, man? But we spent a lot of time there, especially there. A lot of tournaments, basketball tournaments. Football in the backyard. I was afraid to get hit, so I was always trying to go deep. I'd never been hit before, so I was like, nigga, I don't want that. I ain't trying to fuck this body up. I wasn't large as I am right now. I used to be like 100 pounds soaking wet, so, and a bitch. So, you know what I'm saying? I was like, nah, you ain't hitting me like that. But
spent a lot of time at Blunt House too. You know, same thing, basketball, video games, T-Dot, you know, obviously my best friend. So we spent a lot of time, you know, at their house watching like a lot of comedy, listening to music. They had a basketball goal too, so you know, go over there and like play with her brother. You know, we play basketball all the time, and I'm trying to think where else we would be. RIP to Jeremy, used to play basketball at his house in the backyard. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes video game, but mainly basketball. Was it PJ? PJ lived down the street. Little bro, what's up, man? We used to play basketball at his house too. And then Tony and Chris, you know, used to hang out with them too. You know, just that was our Creekside crew, you know what I'm saying? Like basketball is what connected everybody. Everybody had a mountain bike and everybody had, you know, we played basketball or you played football. So you spent a lot of time really just doing that. It was just basketball. Like I said, a lot of basketball, a lot of just trying to chase girls. So the fellas, you know, get together trying to figure out where the girls are. We going to the pool and all that. But for the most part, I mean, those are the friends that I would spend a lot of time with. You know what I'm saying? Especially throughout high school, it started to be like me, Rashad, Joe, Rodney, Elgin. You know what I'm saying? Like we used to hang out. And especially when we started driving, so it'd be a lot of times pulling up to like Rashad house or Rashad and them coming to my house, you know what I'm saying? We trying to figure out what we're gonna do, what we're gonna get Wendy's or whatever it was. But we were kids, you know, we're all kids, you know, just trying to figure out life. But those are the houses and the friends that I used to spend a lot of time with growing up.
How did you find your way out of darkness? I found my way out of darkness really just sitting with it. Like really sitting with what was going on. The issue was that I kept running. I kept wanting to run from reality and what that meant for me, that I wasn't perfect, right? In my idea of perfection. Now, what like Don Miguel Ruiz talks about in Toltec wisdom, whether it be the voice of knowledge, 4 agreements, 5th agreement, the mastery of love, mastery of self, all these books, and they'll be in the the detail section of this episode that you can check out. But what he talks about is that we're already made perfect, and it is us that decide that we're not good enough. And that's where the concept of don't believe the lies. Don't believe that you're not good enough. And it's just, I mean, you can work on yourself. There's nothing wrong with working on yourself. But to think that you're not good enough now is beyond you. Like, it's just learning to accept yourself. And somewhere along the way, we were taught that who we were wasn't good enough. Right? Now, don't get me wrong, improving is okay. Like I said, proving is good. That's great. You know, it's just studying yourself and wanting to learn. Never stop being a student. But to think that I have to do hoops, I have to go through hoops and shit so that I can be seen, heard, and loved and be something is what get us in trouble with our ego. And then we don't know how to respond when we're in certain relationships and are in communication with people, be it our friends, be it our lovers, be it our co-workers and shit. And that's when characters come out and you start being this version of yourself to be accepted, and instead of learning to embrace your authentic self. And I've lived a long time of doing that. I was very much, that's where the darkness came in, because like Jim Carrey stated, depression is like your avatar saying, I'm tired of playing this fucking role. And I'm just tired, and just learning to embrace yourself. And I am learning essentially to embrace what has come into this life for me, and just taking it one day at a time. and how I got out of darkness was really studying Stoicism and how to deal with things when they don't go your way or you anticipate them. Amor fati, what can I say? Accepting things for what they are instead of what you want them to be. Again, we're all directors in our own films. You know what I'm saying? But everybody doesn't know their lines, their scripts and shit. Everybody's doing their own thing, and it has nothing to do with us. And it's like, we'll look at people, they'll do something, and we're like, how could you do this to me? You didn't do this to me. You did it for you. You know what I'm saying? And like that, and that's the tough thing to accept sometimes, is that those individuals were doing things for them. They were in their own pain. Sometimes they project that pain onto others. I mean, think about a time where we've done the same shit. We project our pain onto our family, our friends, our shit, sometimes coworkers, depending on what the fuck they saying at their fucking mouth. But like this notion of being perfect, I'm not good enough. It hits us, and that's when our wounded inner child comes out, because they felt at one point in time they weren't good enough. But that version of you is dead, but the body keeps score, which is also another good book too. The Body Keeps Score. But like, yes, your body does keep score. So whenever you feel like something similar to what you felt in that moment, you're gonna relive that experience. But it's not happening right now. You know what I'm saying? It's something from the past, but you just feel those emotions that came with that shit. And that's just the emotions all we knew at the time, not what we know right now. So you can choose to feel something different than what you felt in that moment. And it's training, like programming your brain, the best way and the best advice I've heard to kind of combat that shit, especially like finding your way out of darkness, becoming indifferent. Like, indifference is such a superpower. Okay, you got somebody did something, like you got a raise or some shit like that. Okay, good. Like, be proud of it. Don't get me wrong, but don't jump for joy type thing. You know what I'm saying? Like, accept it. It doesn't mean don't evade joy at all. Like, accept joy when things happen, but remember to not think that you're better than for that. Be grateful. Like, practicing gratitude. And in my darkness, I kept focusing on what I didn't have versus what I did. And that's where gratitude comes in. Gratitude is a very big superpower. Like, things don't always go your way, but being grateful for the things that you do have, focusing on what you do have. If you remember throughout the day, think of 3 things that you're grateful for, it will shift your mood. It is one of the powers of the universe. God and his universe. Yes, God and his universe. Those powers that come from that is recognizing that there are 3 things to be, like, at least 3 things to be grateful for that you can think about in your life. Air, you know what I'm saying? Your car, your house, not being on the street, still being alive for that matter, and not having, what you came from. Like, we've gone through, most of us, you know what I'm saying? Like, if you're about the same age as me, close to 40, you've gone through some shit in your life and you've been able to overcome that. You know what I mean? And you're still here to tell the story. But finding my way out of darkness, I decided to not wait for people to save me anymore. You know what I'm saying? Like, when you grow up in the church, it teaches you that God is coming to save you, right? Now, it's not to say that God isn't coming at all, but faith without work is dead. So it's like you must put forth that effort yourself. You must put forth the effort. You have to believe in yourself, or God and his universe ain't responding to you. It's just not gonna happen. You sit there and wait all day, it's not gonna happen to you. You know what I'm saying? Somebody might have mercy on you and try to do something for you, but you still have to do the work to maintain. And that's the kicker. The kicker is putting in the work. Are you willing to put in the work? Are you gonna sit there and complain about what everybody else getting? When you have it within you. You know what I'm saying? The motherfuckers are not different from you. They're just as human as you. They just might believe more. You know what I'm saying? And the belief in yourself, once you recognize that power within you, there's nobody can stop you, yo. I'm telling you right now. Like, When I learned to believe in myself above what anybody else thinks of me, what anybody feels like I should be doing with my life. I don't live according to no fucking should. Not anymore. They can say what they want to say. I'm willing to deal with it. You know what I'm saying? It's just I'm teaching myself unconditional love. To love myself unconditionally, regardless of what anyone says. And regardless of what they think. You know, give them unconditional love. Just not unconditional tolerance in my life. You know what I'm saying? But that darkness can be a bitch. It's tough. I think about the times where I really didn't want to be here anymore. I didn't want to live anymore. And I got so caught up in my own ego that I wasn't good enough. This is it. No one cares that I'm here. The wounded inner child, that, you know what I'm saying, the abandonment, that feeling neglected, and everything's not about you, and taking things personally. That's where my head was. And so I just learned that I'm not that important. You know what I'm saying? And not in a negative sense, but I'm just not that important. I'm just as human as everybody else. Everybody else got their own issues, and no one's coming to save you. You're not a baby. You know what I'm saying? Now, being explained that at a younger age might have been helpful to explain to a child that, you know, nobody's coming to save you. I'm not going to always be here to clean your shit up. So when you get triggered, you go back to the child that remembers the parent that comes to take care of them. So when you get upset, you wait for somebody to respond to your anger. But anger is a choice response. And nobody's responsible for your fucking emotions. So you can be mad all you want. It's not going to change anything. You don't want to look crazy. Because if they don't accept your anger, it goes back to the sender. So you really hurting yourself. How much do you love yourself? There's something to think about, you know. But darkness. Getting out of darkness is tough, challenging. But there's so much on the other side. There's so much on the other side. Everything you desire in your life is on the other side of fear. I assure you, just as the quote says. It's learning to accept yourself, learning to say, like, fuck the ego, stop trying to be something that you're not, and, you know, you can become something that you never thought you could be as well, just by focusing on you. You know what I'm saying? Becoming the best version of yourself. It is within all of us, I believe. I truly do believe that. You know what I'm saying? So when you see somebody that's down on their luck, you know what I mean? Avoid the unhappy and the unlucky, but send them positive and healing energy. You know what I'm saying? We exist in an energy field. It's really all this is. And you know how you feel when you get around certain energy. It's like, nah, I can't fuck with that. It's nothing personal. It's just, it doesn't work for my realm of energy that I'm carrying right now. I'm in a groove right now. I'm in a good groove. And you don't want nobody fucking up your groove. You know how you feel when you're on the dance floor, DJs playing some good shit, and all of a sudden they play a record that's totally off that. That's what it's like when you get around people with that unhappy and unlucky. Like, man, you done, fuck, you gonna play that country record after we done played back that thing up? You know what I'm saying? Like, at least let it be one of them ass shaking country records. You know, what's the nigga name? King Ego or whatever. Yeah, him. You know, like ass shaking country records. Let it mix, but don't go from that to George Strait. You know what I'm saying? But I digress. But getting out of darkness, yes, it's tough. It's a tough thing to endure, but it's not impossible. Yeah. So for everybody watching this, anybody facing darkness right now, sit in your shit. Just sit in your shit, but go through it. Don't just sit. Feel what I mean by that. I guess what I'm saying is feel it. Feel what you're feeling, but go through it. Don't run from your reality. Nothing comes from running. But yeah, again, sending anybody that's watching this positive and healing energy. But those are my thoughts on how I got out of darkness. So that's it. I'm out. Good night, kids.